Hello and welcome to the program. The Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will be presenting her second budget for the financial year 2020-21 in the Indian Parliament on February 1, Saturday. It is a major occasion for India's economy. And the pre-budget discussions with various stakeholders in the Indian economy, like exporters and importers, like people involved in foreign direct investment, like people from various manufacturing sectors, and all concerned individuals have been meeting the ministry officials in recent days. But very interesting thing this time is that the Prime Minister was there in the meeting, the Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah was there in the meeting, the Railway Minister was there in the meeting, and many officials also were in the meeting, but the one person who was not seen in the meeting was the Finance Minister herself, Nirmala Sitharaman. She was not there. And the Congress tweeted, look, give a seat to the Finance Minister also. They were joking about it, but no. Why the Finance Minister is not there in the discussions? Why she was not a part of the Prime Minister's team that conducted the discussions? Normally, it is the Finance Minister that conducts this kind of pre-budget discussions. This time, the Prime Minister has taken it over. There are a number of interpretations about it. One is that the Finance Minister is facing a very severe crisis and she is unable to cope with the current mess in the Indian economy. And so Prime Minister has actually sidelined her and taken over the entire control of the Finance Ministry. The second interpretation is that, the Prime Minister has always been taking control of every department under him. There is a big, massive concentration of power in the Indian cabinet. Though there are almost 100 members in the cabinet as ministers, only 2 ministers are now effective, the Prime Minister and his Home Minister Amit Shah. They are controlling each and every department. So there is no need for the Finance Minister or any other minister to take part in the discussion. They will take over every aspect of the governance. That is the second interpretation. Whatever it is not a very happy signal, because India is a huge country. Indian economy is extremely complex also. And an issue like economic management has to be done by a team of experts with a minister dedicated to the activities in the Finance Ministry. Of course, Prime Minister is the chief, the team leader. There is a collective responsibility to the cabinet, but it is for the Finance Minister to actually lead the Finance Ministry. But look at what has been going on in the Indian economy for the last 1 year. The Finance Minister has been completely sidelined. A large number of issues that created extreme roadblocks to the Indian economy were created by the Prime Minister's office or the Home Minister's office. So naturally, there is a massive decline in the Indian economy's fortunes in the 1 year. Last time when Nirmala Sitharaman was presenting her first budget, India was an economy looking up, which was hailed as one of the fastest, actually the fastest developing economy with 8.5% growth rate. Now in the last quarter, this massive growth rate that has completely come down to 4.5%. That is more than half. The decline is more than half. It has become in such a pathetic levels. And at that time, India was the fastest growing economy even before China. China had been taking a second position. But now, what is the situation? Almost all Asian economies, except basket cases like Pakistan, have overtaken India. In the last 1 year, Philippines has had a better growth rate than India. Indonesia had a much better growth rate than India. Vietnam at 7.3% is one of the topmost leading economies in the world. And even China, an economy which has been fighting a massive global trade war with the United States of America for more than a year, even they were able to achieve 6% growth in the last year. That is a highly respectable growth rate, because China has already been making double-digit economic growth for the last many decades. So it is a time for slowdown for China. Even then, China was able to make almost the same level of economic growth as India. And generally, a country like Malaysia, which is a laggard in economic aspects, even they were able to catch up with India. That's the situation when we are comparing ourselves with our neighbors. India is actually coming down in the global economic ladder. And this is actually being reflected in the international trade circles, international magazines, international rating agencies, who are monitoring the global economy in a very close manner, because they are investing in various countries, because it is their interest to see where there is a growth prospect, where things are going down, where there are trouble. So they are making very clear understanding, very clear analysis on each and every economy, and India's position is now slipping down. India's rating is now slipping down. India is now considered as a laggard, if not a basket case. Why is it happening? Why such a thing has been happening in India? Within 1 year, why India has become from one of the largest growth engine, a powerhouse of economic growth, why it has come down to such a pathetic situation? It's a self-inflicted disaster in reality. After the 2019 May election, when the new government took over, instead of giving a very energetic push to the Indian economy, the ruling establishment in Delhi, especially the Sangh Parivar government, took things in a different angle. Instead of focusing on economic growth, they were trying to bring in divisive agenda, which started on August 5 in the matter of Kashmir, Article 370 repeal and other things. Then went to the triple talaq order. Then more strengthening of various legislations, draconian legislations like NIA and the UAPA. Then the decision to amend Citizenship Act in the country, and the proposed NRC, creating a huge, massive public resentment in the country, which resulted in huge public agitations all over the country. So what has happened is that Indian economic growth has come down, and it has become very difficult for any person to operate in a country like India. And also global agencies, economic magazines like publications like The Economist of London, Financial Times, other major publications, they also realize that India is going to face this kind of a crisis in the coming year also. It is going to continue for a long time. So it is not actually prudent to invest in India, because you cannot expect to get the money back. If you are investing in an economy which is a peaceful economy, where there is every possibility of developing the economic activities, where there is every possibility of the middle class actually spending their money, then it is a good thing. But India, when it looks in the present situation, doesn't give that kind of a confidence to any investors across the world. That is why people are now very, very unwilling to consider India as an economic powerhouse. They are not interested. They are not willing to invest in India. And what is the economic impact of recent political decisions on the part of the central government? Look at Kashmir. In Kashmir, on one fine morning, the Home Minister declared that Article 370 is being withdrawn. And army, large number of army people were flown into streets of Kashmir, and Kashmir faced a complete shutdown. From August 5 until only a few days ago, there was no internet accessibility in Kashmir. Nowhere in Kashmir you could access internet. Almost 4 or 5 months complete shutdown. Actually, the BBC recently gave a report that Indian government is the one government in the democratic world which has had such a longest period of internet shutdown in the entire world. And what is the economic impact of it? Economic impact is extreme disaster, because the new economy is based on digital economy. The new economy is based on the activities on the internet, your plastic money, your bank activities, your credit card, your debit card. Every activity is controlled by, based on the availability of internet without any hitch. Now, every part of the world, China is leading the 5G of internet. Most other countries are now investing money on the 5G, and India is also investing, but we are shutting down internet accessibility to every citizen. And how without internet, how are the companies going to run their activities? How are citizens going to buy things? How are activities conducted without internet? So the Indian political crisis has actually dealt an extremely heavy blow to the economic activities all over the country. Not only in Kashmir. This internet shutdown has become a habit with most of the BJP ruled states, like Uttar Pradesh, like Assam, Karnataka, in all these places where there was agitation in recent weeks regarding the NRC and CAA in various towns. Most of this government actually enforced internet shutdown, so that people will not be able to communicate each other, so that they can control agitation, so that people will not talk to each other. But when you are shutting down the economic activities, internet accessibility, you are shutting down the economic activity also. Because for the digital economy, accessibility of internet is the oxygen for survival. Without internet, you just cannot survive in such a global global economic scenario. There is absolutely no possibility for a country that is keeping the internet out to make any growth. So why was Narendra Modi actually 3 years ago declaring that India is going into a demonetization of 500 and 1000 rupee notes? First he said it was to wipe out black money. Then he said it is in order to bring in the plastic economy, bring in the digital economy. So the main reason why India had to face demonetization was that will bring in digital economy, and digital economy means a complete availability of internet, and they are shutting down internet in each and every part of the country. And how are they going to run this country without internet? So that kind of extremely foolish activities, actually self-inflicted wounds on the economic activities in the country, has had a very severe impact on the economic growth, and also the possibility, the kind of goodwill in an economy. People do not trust India any longer. This is a massive change. This is a massive change that has been brought about the political decisions of the leadership, because they have thought they could manage any kind of activities without any resistance from the public. Of course, they were successful in a number of activities, but now the people have come into the streets. It is very, very difficult to drive them away back to homes. That would mean that Indian economic activities will be affected by this kind of series of agitation in the coming years. What is going to be the result of it? Investors will refuse to invest in Indian economy, because they cannot hope that, they cannot expect that they will be able to run their economic activities round the clock throughout the year. There could be shutdowns, there could be internet shutdown, there could be agitation, there could be violence. So nobody wants to risk their money. That is Indian investors. And what about foreign investors? Foreign investors do not see that a country like India, where there is a lot of social strife, there is a lot of political strife, they do not consider that this is a safe time to invest in India. So they will look for safer economies like Vietnam, safer economies like Indonesia, and other economies which are able to provide them the best possible facilities, a calm and peaceful atmosphere, excellent internet facilities. So naturally, India is sliding down, going back in that ranking order. India has been claiming that the ease of doing business is much better these days, but ease of doing business is okay, but you must have the fundamentals of economic activity, which is digital economy today, and that is being cut down to practically in a pathetic situation. You just cannot run any business in the country today. So the impact is that a serious loss of confidence in India's economy within the Indian investors as well as at the global level. So it is in that kind of circumstances that the finance minister is trying to present her budget. She had said last time that she will by 2024 India will reach the position of a $5 trillion economy. That's not a big, actually ambitious situation, because India is a huge country with a huge largest number of people also, big market. But today, that objective, that goal will never be able to achieve. We will not be able to achieve that because economic activities are now almost in a very dying situation. And look at the economic impact of the recent agitations also, recent decisions by the Home Ministry and other people. For example, take what has happened with Malaysia. Malaysia has been one of our biggest trading partners, especially in palm oil. So when Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad said that India's recent legislations regarding citizenship amendment, that is giving some problems to the Indian Muslims, Indian administrators said, Indian rulers said, no, you have no role to play in India's internal affairs. So what they did was that they cut down on the import of Malaysian palm oil. Mahathir said, no, if you don't want, don't buy. But I will continue with my political observations also. The impact is that when you are cutting down on the import of Malaysian palm oil, you will have to buy it from elsewhere in the world at a higher price, so that the consumer will be the actual loser in the whole thing. And Malaysia is not the one country. There are so many other countries like Indonesia, West Asian countries, many African countries, so many countries who are unhappy with the current policies being pursued in India, which are policies against one section of Indian people, especially the major minority community of Muslims. And naturally, that is going to have an economic impact also. It is in these very difficult circumstances that the finance minister is trying to present her budget. She has not been seen for a long time, and I hope we will be able to see her face on February 1, at least on television. Thank you.